Hello. Yeah, it's that time of year again. It's that time of year when we count down our top 100 board games of all time. And that means all time. That means going back to the days of Adam and Eve when they first played Hide the Sausage. And if they hadn't played that game, then you wouldn't be here today. So you've got board games to thank for your miserable existence. So before we get into the first instalment of this mind-numbingly irritating series, we're just going to go through how we came to our conclusions on our top 100 board games of all time. I didn't go back and look at last year's top 100 or the year before that. This is merely a snapshot of what was going through my warped and twisted mind at one moment in time, right? So what I did, I went through all of these 6,975 board games. I ranked them from 1 to 10, and then I went through each block of games and then I ranked them from 1 to 10, and any that fell off of the list went into the next segment, and that pushed all the other games back. So you see, actually there is a scientific method to this. We used real science to come to our final top 100. So if you don't agree with this list, then you are in fact a science denier, right? So just remember that if your super duper top Euro Ameritrash piece of shit game ain't on this list, then that's because A, we haven't played it, or B, it's probably not that it's shit, because all of these titles in our top 100 games of all time are super duper games, right? Fucking stupid. Bollocks. So number 100, I'm really going to do this. So number 100 on our top 100 games of all time is a game that is Arkham Horror. This is a game that is inspired by the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, he was a racist. Yes, he was a misogynist. So if that bothers you, I'd recommend that you don't touch this with a 10-foot barge pole. But because H.P. Lovecraft doesn't actually feature in this game, it doesn't bother me one little bit. Arkham Horror is a cooperative game. You'll be banding together with a load of other investigators. You'll be trying to uncover clues that will allow you to close gates to prevent the Ancient One from appearing and destroying the world. You'll be moving around the town of Arkham, fighting monsters. You'll be gathering items, be gathering weapons, and when you stop in a location, you will resolve an event. One thing that we do like about this game is the way that the game tells a story. It is a bit of a disjointed narrative because the events are random, but it is just really interesting just seeing how the game progresses. One thing that we don't like about this is that it takes too long, it's random, and it is absolutely brutally unfair, right? If these big sprawling 4-5 hour Ameritrash random games don't suit you, then Arkham Horror isn't for you, and it just about scraped into our top 100, so there you go. So number 99 on this list is a game that features like little cutesy animals and a big fuck off cardboard tree. This game is Everdel. This is a tableau building game. You'll be placing your workers out on the board to take actions. These actions will allow you to get cards into your hand that you'll be playing onto the table, and this will allow you to build an engine that will allow you to win a game, right? The theme of Everdel is absolutely fantastic. If you've ever had a fascination with Miss Tiggy Winkle, then this game is definitely for you. One thing that we don't like about it is it's a fucking massive table hog. You've got that big stupid tree that doesn't do anything except hold cards, and if you've got the Pearlbrook and the other expansions, you're going to have to borrow that table from Vladimir Putin because it is a beast on the table. But if you can get over that, if you can keep your eye on all of the stuff that's going on in this game at once, then Everdel is thematically sound. It's got some fantastic mechanics. The artwork is absolutely superb, and you should get it, right? So number 98 on this list is the first of quite a few games by the venerable designer Rainer Knizia. This game is Ra. This is an auction game. You'll be placing different numbered tiles on the table in an auction system to allow you to get first dibs on the tiles that are in the centre of the table. This is essentially a set collection type thing, but the unique mechanic of this is when you place your tile down to bid on the auction, you will have to take another tile from the centre. So by placing a high bid, you might be able to go first, but in the next round, you're probably going to go last, right? One thing we like about Ra is that it is a very simple game that keeps your brain ticking over. We've already mentioned that really ingenious and simple auction mechanic that stops it from being just a I bid 1, I bid 2, I bid 3 type of affair. But one thing we don't like about it is that it don't last long enough. Every time we play this, we want it to go on for a couple more rounds. There might be a way of house ruling another couple of rounds in. Ra is that good that you just want to play it again. So number 97 on this list is the first of probably quite a few dexterity games. This game is Riffraff. Riffraff is comprised of a wooden ship made out of plywood. You'll assemble this construction and you'll be given these different tokens that you will have to place on the ship or hang from the sails of the ship. Every player is going to be given a deck of cards and you'll be playing a card, and the player who places the highest card will go first in placing their stuff. You're trying to avoid having the tokens collapse off of the ship onto the table, in which case you will be taking them back into your hand, and it's the first player to get rid of all their tokens that will win. We love this game. It is absolutely fantastic. It's a really, really good dexterity game. The ship balances just well enough that you should know exactly where you could place different items. The different items have different weights, so there is a bit of strategy in the order in which you place your stuff. One thing that does drag this game down a little bit is the setup. You've got to put the ship together. There's this horrible cardboard base that sometimes doesn't fit in properly and the whole thing collapses. But if you can get over that, then Riffraff is one of the best dexterity games that we have played, and it's on our list for good reason. So number 96 on this list is a horse racing game called Longshot. This game is currently out of print, so apologies if you cannot get hold of it. Actually, I'm not sorry at all, so up your bum. In Longshot, you will be rolling a dice and moving horses around a track, but you will also be able to spend cash that you get by playing Longshot cards to buy the horses that will give you a special ability in moving them. Also, when the horses that you've bought have moved, then you'll be able to move other horses that are labelled on that card, right? It's one of the best horse racing games that we've ever played. It doesn't last too long, and the long shot cards allow you to break the game rules and give you a load of laughs. Sometimes the game is a little bit unfair because essentially it is a random die roll that's going to determine which horses move, but you'll be placing bets on the horses and you'll be hoping that you'll be able to manipulate the horses in such a way that your horse comes in first. So if you can find it, you better get hold of it. Sharpish, know what I mean? Number 95 on this list is another game by Ryan Kanicha. It's a 2-player card game called Lost Cities. In this game, you will be playing cards into a tableau and you'll be placing cards into the centre of the table that will allow your opponent to take that card, and they'll have to place a card out as well. So there's this sort of to and fro of playing a card, getting rid of a card, right? What you'll be trying to do, you'll be trying to play cards in a sequence that will give you the most points. There's also expedition cards that, played one after another, will boost your score maybe 2 times or 3 times or whatever. One thing we like about this game is you've got to carefully judge which cards you play, which different expeditions you're going to essentially be betting on. And one thing we don't like about it is the theme is kind of meaningless. Like with all Ryan Kanicha games, it basically comes down to statistics and a little bit of mathematics, but we can accept that because the game is fucking awesome. Number 94 on this list is another dexterity game. It's a unique dexterity game and it's called Meeple Circus. In this game, the crowd will tell you what they want to see and you'll get access to all these different types of meeples. You'll be trying to arrange these meeples in such a way that you deliver what the crowd wants to see. You'll be stacking these meeples on top of each other, hoping that they don't fall over, and it's a timed game. You'll have so many rounds where you'll be placing your meeples together, and in the final round, you will have the added pressure of everybody watching you bugger up your big top. There's also some other cards that throw some weird stuff into the mix. You might have to do it standing up. You might have to do it whilst you're taking shit. I lied about that one. Meeple Circus is an absolutely rip-roaring game. It's tense, it moves quickly, and there's an app available that gives you a soundtrack and a timer, which provides a game with more tension. Right? So yeah, Meeple Circus, one of the best dexterity games ever made. You should have it in your collection. If you ain't got it, why not? Number 93 is it's another dexterity game. It's called Dungeon Fighter. In Dungeon Fighter, there'll be a target in the centre of the table and you'll be chucking dice onto the target, trying to do damage to the monsters as you make your way through this dungeon. The twist to this is that when you use a certain weapon, you'll have to throw the dice in a weird sort of way. You might have to balance the die on your elbow and lob it that way. You might have to get somebody to hold your wrist while you chuck the die. You might have to jump up and spin round and then lob the die. Yeah, this game has got a wealth of monsters. There's 4 expansions for the first edition. We haven't played the recent reprint, but if you add in all the expansions, it's going to give you 1,001 ways to play this game. It is frustrating. It is random because obviously dice don't roll the way you want them to, but that's part of the fun, right? You just got to accept the fact that you're going to get screwed over by the game. Yeah, so Dungeon Fighter, yet another dexterity game on this list, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more. You know what I mean? Number 92 is the first game on this list by the once prolific designer Stefan Feld. It's a game called Trajan. In Trajan, you would be placing your workers out onto the board in a variety of ways to get a variety of points. You might want to send your legionnaires out to conquer parts of Europe. You might want to send them to do a little bit of political stuff, or you might want to send them out on the ships because they're just a pain in the ass. Trajan is a classic example of what's been termed point salad. You'll have loads and loads of options to get points, and you'll just be picking the way you want to get points out of the game. I suppose these sorts of Stefan Feld games are a little bit dated now. Some people say they were dated when they were first made, and I think that the fact that you don't really hear about Stefan Feld much anymore is probably testament to that, but that doesn't matter because Trajan is a fantastic worker placement point salad game that we ain't never getting rid of. So number 91 on this list is what I think is basically a rip-off of another game that will be on this list later on. It's Flam Rouge. This is a game based on the Tour de France, I would imagine. You're going to be trying to get your two cyclists to cross the finish line. First, you'll be playing cards to move your cyclists. And if you've got the expansion, there'll be a little bit of wind. And you can even play this with 6 players with the Peloton expansion. There's going to be hazards and different things that you're going to have to negotiate throughout this game. It's a really simple game. Just going to be playing a card and moving your cyclist, but it's going to be a few extra rules that's going to mess up your plans. One of the pain in the arse things about this is the modular board. I know it gives you more options, but the board tends to move around and it can be a bit of an arse if you knock those tiles and all your cyclists go flying through the air. But having said that, this is sort of like a poor man's version of other racing games, and seeing as that game is currently out of print, then really Flam Rouge should be your go-to game if you want a cycling racing game in it. So there you go, that was number 100 down to 91. Don't tear your hair out just yet, because there's another 9 episodes of this shit to go. If you are bored already, then I wouldn't recommend coming back for the next installments. But if you're interested to see what types of games we play in this hellhole, then by all means, you're welcome to come back and tear your hair out next time. See you later.